Review show, Planet X Filmworks channel. This is a show where we review pop culture movies, sci-fi action, vigilante revenge films, anime series, sci-fi action series, and the like. So just go through our playlist, the Paradigm Review Show playlist, see all of our reviews. Going back to 2018, a lot of action movies, a lot of animated action series like what we're going to be covering today. It is Ninja Kamui. I think, if I remember correctly, even though Gaz runs the Moss Shinobi channel, which if you guys want to double check for us, we should be live on the dual stream. This is another test show, but should be our first dual stream test show in a while. Should be our final test show once we all realize this works. Let us know if audio and video is good in the chat. I think I sent you this trailer back in the day, Gaz, when it dropped, which is crazy because Gaz's channel is the ninja martial arts samurai epicenter of the PXM media umbrella. But this one I found for him. Pretty crazy. It was on Adult Swim, guys. Check it out on HBO Max currently. You can see the ticker below. Called Ninja Kamui. Synopsis: former ninja Joe Hegan is ambushed by assassins who seek bloody revenge on him and his family for their betrayal after escaping his clan and fleeing into rural America. Pretty much to the point. I felt that there's a lot that description left out, Gaz, of, I'm just going to give you like my initial impression. When I originally sent you this trailer, I thought it was going to be very ninja, mythos and, mythology, history, canon. Right. Even from the early teasers, you couldn't even tell that this was set in modern day because it showed most of the ninja combat. So I didn't know, are these feudal ninjas? I literally had no idea because when we started watching it, I didn't look up anything really about the show. I just wanted to, experience it. What struck me right off the bat was the amount of cyberpunk technology, futuristic themes. I guess that's probably, and Gaz can tell me because he knows the genre better than myself. I mostly just watch kind of the more, I wouldn't call them mainstream because they're probably lower budget, B movies at this time, a la Scott Adkins and all the other stuff we've reviewed as far as like my ninja knowledge, if you will. But I mean, Gaz knows I'm into it enough. I respect the genre enough. But this, I felt like this was more my wheelhouse, Gaz, with the science fiction, the cyberpunk, the futuristic. I didn't know any of that was going to be in Ninja Kamui.
yeah, definitely. So many different elements you could pick out on the tangents, like Metal Gear Solid-esque ninjas, particularly the one in the guy who's in Sons of Liberty, I think, and they make a spin-off game on him later. All of that's there. The cyberpunk, definitely. The same as you. I was. I certainly wasn't disappointed, but it was very different to what I was expecting, even the way it opened as well. So I'm right with you.
I expected it to just be more traditional. It's just what I expected. So, I mean, Adult Swim knows what they're doing. I know there's some big animators involved in this. So right off the bat, I mean, I guess you got to do a little bit more than show feudal age ninjas kind of interacting in that, I don't want to call it outdated, but more ancient style warfare, which there's nothing wrong with. Gaz and I are fully entertained by that, but just the fact that I thought this was kind of back more under like the kind of PXF wheelhouse with all the cyberpunk, what we would call them over here, more like Blade Runner-esque, Terminator type themes. Of course, the hackers, the technology theme was prevalent, which I was impressed with. I'm just like, the way some of that stuff was going, I was just like, the way they weaved in and out of the story arcs and plot lines, I was just like surprised by how much they were able to add. I mean, of course, they did have the traditional Ninja Clan story arc, through line, and Gaz could obviously cover that with Higgin and his former clan and stuff. Maybe just your initial perception and then how things went on for you, and I'll pull up the episode's description while you're going.
I thought it does a nice job of introducing us to the setting. There's certainly, as we'll get into, the action, I feel, is nicely paced. It's certainly not a ball like Shogun, which everybody loves. And no. If you want some action, I mean, brah, it's ninjas fighting. This is right up my alley. I don't care if it's set in feudal Japan, if it's set in modern day. The fact there's ninjas fighting each other, adult rated as well.
Ninja combat. Yeah.
I'm in all the way. So it hooks you in. There's a nice setup to introduce the clan politics in relation to Higan as well. Trying to avoid spoilers here, but they do set that up very nicely.
Sure.
There's certainly things to get into with the soundtrack, which me and Ross will cover as well.
I have some feedback on that.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know I will.
Yeah. So, perfect introduction.
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point. Then we can kind of go into the episode descriptions from what we remember. Gaz will be a little bit fresh because he rewatched the ending. Both of us had complications with our streams, and we both moved from dub to Japanese. You know what I mean? Subtitle, English subtitles with Japanese. So that made our understanding of the storyline interesting. You know what I felt was kind of close to? I think you did watch it back in the day when they made that G.I. Joe remake with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow's origin and the Ninja Clan. Like as far as the ninja story arc and then the relationship between like Higan and the villain, I felt that was kind of like, I don't know if you picked up that parallel as well, but that was quite similar to like Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes origin, at least.
Definitely. They showed that contrast, two friends that were more like brothers, really.
Exactly.
Kind of the
become rivals or
opposite side of the same coin, I guess, but still driven by their principles and honor. Like both believe that they are actually right and they're doing good. Like Zai doesn't think that he's evil. He thinks he's upholding the ninja code. He doesn't, he carries that throughout the series, even at the end, as we'll get to later.
Probably the hardest hitting theme, I would say. Gaz nailed that. If you like Gaz, I can go into these episode synopsis. Episode 1. After his family was brutally attacked by a gang of masked ninjas, Joe Higan is approached by FBI agents Mike and Emma to help investigate the murder of his wife and son. This is a Grindhouse channel. If you don't like ninjas, American Ninja and the type of ninja content Gaz covers on Mosh Shinobi, and you don't like the Grindhouse vigilante revenge content that I cover, a la Death Wish and Dirty Harry and even the Asian revenge films, I'm going to go flat out and say this early on in the review, that Ninja Kamui is probably not for you because they don't. It's animated, as Gaz said, sure. So a little bit of you get saved of it being animated. They also don't pull punches on the violence and the kills, as Gaz said. There's no cutaways. Joe is liable to fight like 10 or 20 dudes at a time. Ninja stars flying through the sky, mostly katana blades, mostly blades. You can imagine how all that looks when it lands on flesh. It's not that pretty. So I just want to put a violence disclaimer out for someone who doesn't. They think it's animated, so maybe it's a kid's show or something.
And that's an interesting point, because when I first started watching this, I remember I was talking with you off air, and I said, there's people are complaining about the violence in this already. And they were trying to compare it to Shogun. Completely different.
No.
Completely different.
Not even
show.
I just said, close. Yeah.
I said, come on, it's a ninja clan, ninja assassins. What do you think is going to happen when they clash? And sadly, people get in the middle of them as well. Exactly. I will say this for you folks: if you are a fan of movies such as Ninja Assassin, you will definitely like this series. It reminds me of that. As Ross rightly said, all the Asian action movies, I watched so many of those. Anything from the Yakuza Triad movies as well, all of that stuff. Then definitely you want to peep Ninja Kamui.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, what was that one we did back in the day with Eco? The night comes for us, or
the night comes for us.
Yeah, that was sick. Anything of a line of those, Triple Threat, any of those kind of Eco movies, I think would all fit, which is kind of why we're bringing this into the fold, bringing it forward. And another thing, I mean, his family is violently attacked in episode 1. If that's triggering for you, I don't suggest that you watch it. It is animated, but as we said, they don't pull back on violence. They don't cut away on kills. None of that stuff. It's Grindhouse level animation. You know what I mean? If I've ever seen it. So, but yeah, pretty basic. I love the way the setup, like Joe is super capable right off the rip. You know that like whatever clan he came from is nails. The way he dispatches you see those ninja assassin mercenaries quite a bit. Some obviously great fights. This is a good point to bring in music, I think. Really well done soundtrack, really well done score. I don't love that theme song, Gaz. I'm good for watching that. I'm good for listening to that once after episode 1. And then they give you a skip option. They give you a skip option, which we both utilized. Didn't really fit what I felt was the overall mythos of the show, which is extreme grindhouse violence. And that song is like super upbeat. But I know that's kind of the anime trend, is like those kind of catchy, I guess, hits, over there. Again, and I'm not not very immersed into that scene. So
yeah, I felt it didn't. That's a problem I have with some anime series. It's funny. I just watched another ninja series, which was quite bizarre. Where this guy was even fighting like mutant fish creatures and things. Don't ask, man. It's something not to watch if you're on alternative.
Say, what are you doing in my realm?
As bad as that, yeah. That movie, yeah.
Sounds
But
like maybe me and Max Alley.
But the score on that series didn't go on, and the problem is, it's like it's not that the guitars are totally bad, but you feel it's a little bit cheesy, a little bit too poppy. It kind of doesn't match the grimy nature of it. So that's my problem often with anime series. I feel like the score they use doesn't always match the content.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that criticism. In this case, though, mostly just the theme song. The overall score is actually it's
sorry,
hip-hop.
the theme song, yes.
That's a very Adult Swim thing, a la Aqua Teen Hunger Force, all the other stuff that Rick and Morty, full of hip hop references. So Adult Swim, they're obviously hip hop heads. I think this is one thing that does. Now, Gaz knows my origin and my career. He's mentioned it on the show before. Some of you know what it is. Here's my thing, though. Everything doesn't always have to be hip hop just because it's the modern day. You know what I mean? Where it works, it works. But as Gaz was just saying, it also needs to match, the visual of what you're seeing. In this case, I think it does. Shout out to Casper. That's a former, if you guys know about our other divisions of Planet X Media, Planet X Filmworks, that's a former Planet X Records artist. He is featured on the soundtrack of Ninja Kamui, so I noticed that right away. I actually had sent Gaz the trailer before I even knew, one of our affiliates had even worked on it, which was interesting. But hip hop soundtrack during the fight scenes, amazing choreography, just amazing use of weapons, of course. Ninjutsu weapons, katana blades, ninja stars, and the like. And then I feel they do expand on that quite a bit too, with kind of the technology. Not even sure what you kind of. It's almost like they call them the synths in the show, but like it's almost like biomechanical with that idea of having like fluid cyber suits and whatnot. So the weapon variety increases, which is nice. I think it's a good thing. So we go right on to episode 2. Higan learns that a string of recent murder victims were all former ninjas who had their covers blown. Higan goes after the boss. Uh-oh. IMDb dude, I don't know if this is happening to anybody else, but it keeps giving me dead links when I try to load things. Okay. Higan goes after the boss ninja and swears to take revenge for his dead wife. It's kind of a spoiler there. And son by crushing the organization. But although we just told you that, you know what I mean? His family got attacked in episode 1. You probably could have guessed that. But I mean, the whole setup is sick. Also, the one theme we didn't mention is the FBI agents. Like, I felt that was like very detective noir, Gaz, which I thought was like an interesting angle. I didn't really see that coming. Kind of obvious because when you're dealing with the ninja unworld, as Gaz said, like Yakuza type crime families, obviously there's going to be a law enforcement element, you know what I mean? Because anything that takes place in modern society, you're not going to have these dudes running amok, bodying people and nobody investigating it. So it's semi-predictable, but the way it worked out was interesting, I thought.
Yeah, and I think, again, another parallel, I mentioned the Ninja Assassin movie, also the first Scott Adkins Ninja movie, where they have that with the cops investigating, they don't quite believe it until it happens. So I thought we kind of got that with Ninja Kamui as well. Yeah,
agreed. The name of this dude... I was looking for the name of the FBI agent. It's kind of him and his partner. They're both super cool. I mean, I thought all the voice actors did a really good job. I mean, there's just a lot of good detail.
The character name was Joe, I believe. I'm looking for the voice actor as well.
Yeah. The only thing so far, guys, that is very predictable, and as this develops, that like both of I thought kind of found unnecessary and cringe, is the same thing in Warrior, although it's more prominently based in Warrior. The same thing in Shogun, and it is the love story between like Joe and his so it's the male and the female ninja. Even that new Assassin's Creed that everyone's roasting has essentially the exact same storyline, which is the male ninja falling in love with his female ninja clan counterpart. Oh my God, I didn't see that coming, even though like literally the last 10 mainstream ninja stories have used it, That's the only thing slightly predictable and cringe, but it doesn't take away, I would say, too much from the overall the show, but it's just like, it felt unnecessary at times to me.
And apologies. I think the detective is actually called Mike, not Joe.
Okay, I saw Mike Morris in the I thought and that dude was super cool. I thought he nailed the detective role.
Yeah,
for what it is, a detective in a
there is a character called George Joseph who's obviously the villain, so I got the two mixed up there.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, closer than me. Episode 3, Yamaji addresses questions from one of his lieutenants regarding Higan's survival. Meanwhile, Mike joins forces with Higan and Emma to launch their own independent investigation into Auza. I know at one point, it might be around episode 3, episode 4. For one, dude's mask is sick. Joe has that Fangs mask, right?
Yeah.
Or Mike, or whatever the main guy. Higan has that. Higan has that ninja.
Yeah, I love that the Asian fashion as well. The hoodies and the mask underneath. I thought that was right up my alley as well.
Which is like the old samurai masks, right? Like semi similar to what they were wearing on their armor. Episode 4. Did I just read this one? No. Mysterious benefactor warns Higan that it's impossible for him to infiltrate Auza City without any help. Meanwhile, Mike and Emma walk away from the accident with light injuries and relaunch their investigation into Auza and the ninjas. And then, of course, as Gaz said, there's essentially this political struggle in the ninja clan. What that one semi-villain political figurehead dude is trying to usurp power for himself and kind of change the direction of the politics.
Do you think the story at this point that they do a good way of, as it's not set in feudal Japan, of bringing it into a kind of, I guess, a modern paradigm with the way it links in with the geopolitics? For sure. I didn't expect the geopolitical angle, like I said earlier. I didn't see it coming, but the way it landed was super cool. I mean, if you're not into the kind of high concept sci-fi that me and you were into, I think it could be difficult for, like, if you've never seen an anime before or dealt with ninja clan politics, it might be confusing for you at times, unless you're a really, really big Shogun fan, as Gaz was saying, you know what I mean? And this is quite a bit different, but because there's just so many plot lines and story elements. There's a lot of characters as well. So it does follow Higan, but it bounces around. It even bounces around in the timeline. Episode 5, Mike uses information from Emma to track down Jason, a former Auza employee, elsewhere after having his first attempt to infiltrate Auza City stopped by Zai. Higan learns of an alternate route from the mysterious benefactor. I know at one point, I think it was around here, that there was like that office building fight, like in the cubicles. That was absolutely insane. Some of the combat sequences in this are freaking nuts, guys. Like not even playing around. There's some wild it's blink and you'll miss it. It really is. It's high adrenaline. It keeps your energy seat, and when it happens, some of these fights will happen halfway through an episode, or sometimes even right at the start. But there's always something that happens near the end, which sets you up for the next episodes. As me and Ross will get into, there's really only 2 episodes that, to be honest, are filler.
Slowed down a little bit too, but it's more just like connecting the dots, like setup type of stuff, as Gaz was saying. Like we said, there's a lot of dudes hacking databases, and so if you're not like a computer nerd industry background like me, that might not be particularly interesting to you. But like if you're into that kind of almost like what was like Deus Ex and Invisible War, I felt those kind of vibes with the technology hacker theme, and you know what I mean. That's a cool cyberpunk influence if that was the case. And as Gaz was saying, they play the credits, but then there's like 5 more minutes of the episode. And if you were to walk away when you saw the credits stream because you thought it was over, you would probably miss some very integral, key points to the plot, as well as like major combat fights. Sometimes, like Gaz said, there's this weird little like secret after credits sequence, and they'll cram an insane 5-minute fight in there. One of which we'll cover when we get to it here. Asuka rescues Higan from certain doom, and her true identity is unveiled. Meanwhile, Mike learns that he is now wanted by his own agency, the FBI. That's always a cool theme, the rogue agent theme. And I believe it was this one with the big fight at the end. As Higan and Lil engage in combat, Higan achieves complete synchronization with his Gosuku gear known as
Kamui.
Afterwards, Yamaji finally orders Zai to eliminate Higan. So the big thing are these. Well, I don't think this is too much of a spoiler because this is essentially the main thing of the show. Are these Kamui suits? What I was referencing earlier, it's cybernetic, organism combat suits, and depending on there's 3 or 4 generations, guys. So depending on the version you get, I think the one Higan ends up using is the one that works like in actual conjunction with your spirituality. So in other words, you can't just put it on and achieve your max, God mode like a lot of other animes or a lot of other shows where, the character just rides their superpower until the last episode and they don't get, injured or face any adversity. Like that's the other cool thing about it is you saw the dude in some big fights, but you saw him get hurt. You saw him get wounded. You even essentially, I don't want to spoiler it, but you even seen him essentially lose some of the combat exchanges, before he gets the Kamui suit. So that made him realistic. That made him vulnerable. That he didn't just God mode through the show, which is what is kind of the expectancy with, animes or other kind of combat shows like this. But the detail of the synthetic suits, I mean, if you want to weigh in on that, guys, I guess it's, the sci-fi theme is probably more my bag than yours, but very well done, I thought, and the animation looks insane. So
Man, it reminded me of all those anime sci-fi series where they've often got the mech suits, they get in them, back to classics, even like Guyver as well. So all of that's there fused with, it really is a cyber ninja mech suit. So it's as Ross said, it syncs with the ninja's ability. They get like spoiler alert here, folks. They have a secret art which is personal to them. So it's a unique special power, and the suits just really amplify everything. And the positive of that is it makes the fights even more insane. They were insane to begin with, but when they get these suits on, it just like takes it up another level.
It really does. Like, and it's almost like, okay, I was enjoying the traditional ninja combat, as Gaz was saying. Like, if I'm just a ninja guy or a martial arts guy, like, am I really going to be feeling the sci-fi suits? So it could go either way, like when you're first introduced to it. But as Gaz said, they double down on it. They make the fights realistic. They both struggle, both injure, both hurt each other, which makes it a back and forth power struggle, which is interesting. I think I mentioned this theme on the show before, Gaz, but it did remind me of that theme from, I think you've seen Macross Plus, where the one dude, the main character, has the YF-21, and then Gold has that other experimental, telekinetic one that he plugs in, like he flies it through his mind, he just connects it to his brain. That reminded me of that theme, like the mixing technology with spirit or whatever you want to call it.
So much the influences from right across the board, as you said right at the start, cyberpunk, sci-fi, more on the dark sci-fi, and then with a bit of geopolitics mixed in still with feudal Japan.
The history theme.
It's all there.
Yeah, it's well done. Like I think, like you said, what they did was they kind of took the genre to the next level, which is, like you said, building upon the ninja mythos history, which we all know, like the spirituality, the passing down of the knowledge, the rite of passage, right? Versus making it futuristic, adding the technology themes, adding the cyberpunk, adding the geopolitical struggles, and it works. It's a lot. I will say that it's a lot. Like if you're not used to following, 13 episode complicated, animes, it could be a lot for you to deal with. But I mean, worst case scenario is you watch an episode back if you miss something. You know what I mean? Gaz and I think, did several repeat watches just because we kind of got lost in where we were in sequence. We had to change platforms a few times, but that's neither here nor there. I think this was episode 8. The CEO of Auza dreams of taking total control of the country's energy infrastructure using Yamaji's ninja organization. Emma makes it her personal goal to stop them with Higan's help. Meanwhile, Jason and Mike are still on the run. And I think I felt like there's kind of a light slowdown, but like right around episode 10, it starts to peak up again, and then really, really pop off in these last few.
This is when we've had a non-stop high adrenaline ride, pretty much. Then episode 8 and 9 are definitely the slowdown. don't worry, folks. If you're thinking, oh man, I've had such a good series, is this how the rest of it's going to be? No, I'm not going to lie. I did feel that at first. I thought, man, I hope this isn't how it's going to be now for the rest of the show.
Right.
But it doesn't. As Ross said, when it gets to episode 10, bang, it's back to consistency. So I guess that's the. This is going to sound horrible, more horrible than it actually is. I guess episode 8 and 9 are the elevator episodes where it's just with the relaxing music. You might want to step off those episodes and come back on the 10th floor when it picks up again.
For sure, yeah. I mean, and again, it's still setting things up because all the technology themes are closely linked. You know, it all involves hacking to try to, steal the suits and all that. Semi-predictable in some things, but I think you guys would still enjoy it nonetheless. This is episode 9. Emma and Jason combine their efforts to launch a hacking attack on Auza, which results in them obtaining top secret information. Meanwhile, Mike and Hegan fend off a squadron of mercenaries sent by Auza to stop them. Like, the Merc squadrons are crazy. I mean, you might hear that sentence in the description and be like, oh, it's a mild, mercenary fight. That's never what it is in Kamui. It's always a complete bloodbath. Complete insanity. I think that's the one outdoors fight, if I remember correctly.
It is, yeah.
Kind of jungle.
Yeah, I'm going to try and avoid spoilers because there's a big event that happens here at the end of the episode. It's an insane fight. One thing I want to mention as well, there's the detective noir side, Ninja Kamui. They do a good representation of the relationship between Emma and Mike. Mike's kind of a bit like I suppose a father figure or older brother guiding her. And it's, I can't really say, if I say any more, folks, I'm going to give it away. Trust me, it's and I don't want to do that because it's a real big event, but I'll just say the way they handled it and show it, I thought was really nicely done, and it kind of sets up for Higan to get back on his quest to essentially take down Yamanji.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to skip part of this summary here because I think it has that spoiler Gaz just avoided, so I'm not going to just say it after he skipped it. When a letter, this is about Higan, a letter challenging him to a duel arrives from Zai. Mike and Jason want to leak the data they hacked from Auza to the public, but discover they can't. Due to an external memory drive being encrypted. I mean, that's IT stuff. You could, take it or leave it if the cyberpunk is not your thing. If I remember correctly, I think this is the red suit, blue suit fight at the end, right? That's Higan and Zai. Yeah. Okay, so I watched this fight like 3 or 4 times, and that's exactly what I was talking about when I said if you walk away when you see the credits because you're not used to watching anime and you don't like Gaz said, you don't understand that there's a 5-minute scene coming. If you were to walk away on episode 10 and miss this fight, you would greatly regret it. I watched this fight probably 2 or 3 times in dubbed and in Japanese. Absolutely insane synth fight. Just like we call it red suit, blue suit. They're just 2 different colored synths. And I think Higan actually has red, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
And Zai has blue, and he's the good guy, as we said. But the bad guy, as we said. But man, absolutely sick fight. I mean, you probably just refreshed this, guys. So if there's anything else I missed or anything else you want to fill in on that,
and the fight when they're out the suits as happens is equally insane. There's a good mix of both stand-up martial arts, some ground fighting as well, weapons based. I'm not by 1 minute saying this is practical or realistic. It's for our entertainment.
It's animation.
But they still show that contrast between stand-up, weapons, ground, and then something that only in kind of the movies that Ross was mentioning at the start that we watch on this channel, where they show that insane close-up quarters combat, hand-to-hand, very, very close. That's there as well. It's funny how they can have a whole conversation and exchange while that's happening. In reality, that wouldn't be able to happen. There's no way I'd be able to recite poetry to Ross if we were doing close quarters sparring. It just wouldn't happen.
But I think it's part of the ninja element. Like
it is.
They're arguably way better conditioned than we are, and part of it is being spiritual. So if they have the breath control and they have the endurance that they're supposed to have, They should be quoting the poetry back and forth in the
that's a very, very good point. I was just thought I'd go and point out both sides. Someone who comes across be like, this is.
Oh, if it was me and Gaz, we'd punch each other in the chest once, and we'd both be puking our guts up trying to recite Shakespeare to each other. So
it was 5 minutes.
It would never work. But with these guys, I mean, you're talking about top tier elites. You know, they're elite fighters. So that's how I suspended the realism for myself there.
And it's entertaining and it's well done.
Spoiler alert: Hegan, I believe, does unleash his special on Zai. Yeah, I won't say what it is, but he achieves full focus, which is sick, and he kind of achieves like full focus with his suit. Could move on to episode 11.
Yeah,
I'll skip that because it's a spoiler. Joseph sends his mercenaries to attack the ninja hideout after cutting his ties with Yamaji. Meanwhile, Mike figures out the key to decrypting the data Emma left behind. Actually, kind of forgot about that. Anything else you have on 11 or 12 or 13, guys? Because you watched them more recently than
they're all very interlinked, kind of like one episode. The whole three, really.
Yeah.
The action is awesome. There's I'm going to try and avoid spoilers if I can, folks. This is going to be difficult. So if I give away a few small ones, apologies in advance. There is a sick fight in the office building, the corridor, which it's Joseph's headquarters. With the mercenaries and ninjas after him, and
that might have been the one I was talking about. That was crazy.
Yeah. And I forget the character's name. I'm trying to find it, but one Dilly. That's it. Dilly, who'd been assigned by Yamanji to be Joseph's bodyguard. She pretty much protects him, fights against the Yamanji and his ninjas. Honestly, this is even sick within itself. It's very good. Joseph spends a lot of this series crying, and then when he knows he's safe from any harm whatsoever, then he's cocky. So he's kind of like a bit of your true kind of billionaire villain, where they're okay when they know they're not in danger. The minute they are, they start wetting themselves, which just dropped a hint there. So look out for that, folks, when you watch these.
Yeah, that certainly comes across as Gaz was saying. Episode 12. Dilly adheres to her original orders and protects Joseph by choosing to fight Yamaji. Higan has a surprise for a visitor who begs him to put an end to the contradictions of the Ninja Clan, and then talks about what happened to Mike, but I will skip it.
Is this the, I've got to say this in episode 12, is this the episode where Mike and the guy that I forgot to say, the guy that his, I think it's his superior, maybe his captain, where they have the meeting in the car, you know, at the end of episode 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And they have, I particularly was interested in your thoughts on this because I thought it was a throwback to those like movies you mentioned, Dirty Harry. The way they resolve their differences, spoiler here, folks, is they decide not to talk it out. It's like turn the cameras off, and the two dudes start beating the hell out of each other in the police room. And at the end of it, the next episode, you see the cheeks swollen. Both of them have got a bruised black eye, teeth hanging out. I thought that was hilarious, but a throwback to those kind of movies as well. So just wondered, did that come across to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what I was saying, like, you know, kind of like the old, like detective noir stuff we were saying back in the day, but even just the old 80s, 90s, like police style, you know, you maybe even 70s, 80s, 90s. I totally agree. Yeah, hell yeah, man. It's like I said, there's something for every, like if you're a fan of like pretty much action movies in general, you'll probably find something in this series that you like, you know what I mean? And episode 13, Higan and Yamaji engage in a final battle. Meanwhile, Mike tries to track down Joseph as he attempts to flee the country. I'm not sure if this is the final battle. I know it's like around somewhere with the all-out synth fight with like three on three.
It is.
Okay, so it does build up to a massive fight, guys. I mean, it's a show about ninjas. You could probably guess that the finale would be a massive combat massacre, but I'll just say it delivers. That's really the only. I mean, it's very interesting, very complicated animating as far as the editing, and just they kind of unleash the synths, which is what you've been expecting since they introduced that theme.
Yeah, that they really do. And just when there's a point where when Yumanji has the upper hand, and it doesn't look good for Higan, and
Yep.
trying to avoid giving something away here.
And that's what I've said about it being realistic, even with Higan with his suit and in full conjunction, you know, like symbiotic evolution with his suit. That he still doesn't necessarily, you know, just God mode through the rest of the season, you know.
That's a big difference. It's not like Disney Star Wars movies where it's like Jedi power up, I'm just invincible and I can do everything like that, and I'm not going to struggle whatsoever. No, they struggle, they get injuries, they go through blood and guts, literally. There's times when buddies or someone will come from out the shadows to make the save, and if it wasn't for them making the save, that would have been the end of the series. So as much as it's obviously fantasy entertainment based, they still bring in that nature of realism on that side to say, hey, well, this character is still going to struggle even though they're at top tier, and Yumanji is represented as the top tier. I mean, he's the leader of the ninja clan. You would expect that.
The enemies were super tough, from Zai to Yumanji to
the standard ninjas.
Yeah.
The standard. There's a great scene which I should have mentioned earlier. I think it's in episode 1 or 2, folks, when I believe, I'm not sure if it's Higan or another exiled ninja who's hunted down in an alley, and it reminded me of that Ninja Turtles fan film with. Oh man, I forgot his name. Dude, we all love the character.
Casey Jones, or
Casey Jones. That fight he has with the Foot Clan. It was very reminiscent of that. I thought, man,
I wouldn't be surprised if they took that influence, as you were saying.
Yeah,
it landed. You know, a lot of news in the Ninja Turtle world. Did I already discuss Last Ronin with you guys, or I don't know if I mentioned it on the show or read it?
Off air, but no, I don't think on the show.
So if you guys are familiar with the Last Ronin concept of TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which, you know, you're probably thinking, why is Ross bringing this up in a essentially grindhouse, ultraviolet animated, ninja review? Well, it's for an actual reason. It's because there's I've heard a lot of stuff. So I've heard there's definitely a comic book line, The Last Ronin. It's post-apocalyptic Ninja Turtles. And in the comic, it focuses on Michelangelo. I've heard there's a video game in develop as well. I don't know if that's the case, but the rumor is they have an R-rated script for Michelangelo to be like Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, or at least an R-rated Last Ronin movie, not necessarily Michelangelo. Now, if that gets developed, guys, that would be so crazy, because there's been rumors of a R-rated Star Wars for probably 20 years, as Gaz was saying. And the way Disney has the property, you can bet on it's never coming. So if Ninja Turtles beats Star Wars to an R-rated property, I'm going to be blown away, bro. It just shows that the creators of Ninja Turtles have balls, and maybe Disney doesn't anymore. So
that would be sick, and we'll definitely cover that for sure, folks. There's been rumors of that though as well for quite some time, because we've talked about it for quite a few years
it's
now.
It's picking up. Word is the script is done, and that now they're bringing in producers and whatnot. So I don't know. I have no idea who even what studio. Well, I guess the last Ninja Turtles was like that pastel, animated one. So I'm not exactly sure what studio developed that, or if it'd be under the same property. If it's someone else doing it, it'd be cool if it's Lionsgate or someone. We've been giving them a lot of props lately, but it'll probably just be whoever owns the Ninja Turtles IP. Not to throw us too far off, guys, but I think that's something you should all look to in development. Just on obviously we have the dual streams back now with myself and Gaz doing stuff like this. So if something like R-rated Last Ronin were to come up, of course we would be reviewing that on Paradigm Review Show. Go ahead.
I was just going to say also be on the lookout for in the final, I guess, the boss fight against Yumanji in episode 13 with Higan. Oh man, I'll say it like this: unlocks another ability, and that's all I can say.
Nice.
Just be on the lookout for that.
No, it's fire. I think you guys should watch it. 13 episodes, originally debuted on Adult Swim. They did have that one free episode on the Adult Swim YouTube that I sent you guys. I think it was episode 5. So I don't know if they ended up. There's probably a lot of clips of it on YouTube. I don't know if they ended up putting a full eepisodes as well. It is on Prime. I think you have to rent it or get some kind of subscription or whatever. I could pretty overall sick. Like I said, there's very little flaws. The things that we didn't like about it were much less than what we did like. Amazing action, amazing animation, editing, soundtrack, score, basically everything but the theme song. Love story was a little bit cringe, but aren't they always? And like we said, strong villains, strong heroes. So overall, delivers the grindhouse action. And we were looking looking to check this out for a long time when we saw the teasers. I could pretty much go to ratings, guys. If you're good.
Yeah, same, man, same.
I'm at an 8 out of 10. It currently is sitting at 7.3 on IMDb. Little rough with my blur in the background. So where were you at, guys?
About 8.5. I enjoyed it immensely, but it should be of no surprise to anyone whatsoever. But yeah, 8.5. The good thing is it has been renewed for season 2. So that's good to see. They kind of do leave it open for how things could possibly develop. We do see that at the end of episode 13 as well. But if you want an R-rated series, even if you're not a fan of anime, but you just want a cool ninja R-rated series that's got elements from detective noir and cyberpunk, sci-fi, obviously ninjas, so it gives it that coolness as well. And then
technology,
some very brutal action. Yeah, definitely peep it. There's a guy called as well, Free Flow Flavor, a Russian kind of beat maker that is very samurai ninja inspired, and he did a track called Ninja Kamui, which features some samples from the series as well, and it's actually pretty cool. So anyone who's in that kind of music or is curious, you might want to go and check that as well. Yeah,
great series. I rated high. Definitely check it out. Shout out to Casper, everybody who did score, everybody who did animated, worked on it. Adult Swim. I mean, I mostly like most of Adult Swim stuff, at least from what I've saw. I know. I don't know if you've seen the trailer yet, but Rick and Morty, the anime, is coming out, guys, in August. They've been making trailers of that for years and teasing it for years. So that people are calling it like the biggest troll ever, the fact that it's never came out. That should be interesting. Gaz and I will definitely be doing Terminator Zero, Netflix, August. Should be crazy. We'll have PXF Classics coming up. We're looking to do Deadpool and Wolverine. Hopefully Mac will come back and join us for that. Drops next weekend. So that's probably our big one is Deadpool 3 sometime around next weekend. Then we'll get back to PXF Classics and a bunch of new stuff dropping next month. If you guys are tuned in, you can feel free to ask any, whatever, just regular channel questions, suggestions. I just put the Naked Prey trailer up under community and also on the Patreon. That's another adaptation of The Most Dangerous Game. The movie that referenced. Yeah, that movie's pretty crazy, guys. I think even you would like that one. It's like a dude who they basically get like kidnapped by a tribe on a safari in Africa, and he has to just like they basically hunt him. A lot like Apocalypto, how they just
yeah. Oh man, yeah, I'll take that.
It's like an old school like Apocalypto kind of take. So yeah, I got that posted up. I'll have a few more of those, posting up going through the 70s and the 80s, and then eventually, once they turn modern, it won't really be relevant to, the Zodiac case. So I'll probably fall off from there. But, of course, you guys can get the comic, Escape from Earth Volume 1 on Amazon. That's the first Planet X comic, since this is animation. And then we should have some more graphic novel and animation reviews. Of course, that Watchmen, I think I sent you the trailer, guys, the Watchmen animated movie, that drops next month as well. So going along with, our animated reviews, we'll have the Terminator Zero, the Watchmen, and of course, we'll have more PXF Classics coming up. The Crow 2024, which Gaz will be looking forward to. We'll be doing that as well.
I am until you remind me every week.
For sure to be a roast. Don't really expect a review on that one. Hey, look, if it's amazing and it's somehow good and it's like Boy Kills World, me and Gaz will take back everything we've said on previous shows. We'll take back everything we said on previous shows. However, if we're right, we're going to be right back to Expendables 4, and you guys are going to have to deal with our wrath. And we haven't done a roast for a while, so it's time.
No, we haven't. So it'll balance it out. There's the that's what I'm going with. But yeah, that had disappeared from my mind, and then whenever we do a review and I'm reminded of it, I'm just
Yeah. No. I mean, it's not a Bill Skarsgård thing because Boy Kills World is good, John Wick 4 is good, Nosferatu probably good, but the latest one is that producer talking about what an indie movie it is. Like, okay, like here's the thing, bro. We don't care if it's indie or if it's studio. A studio movie can still be good. It's just more unlikely to be good.
Yeah, isn't it? I'm curious. Doesn't Alien Romulus come out the same month? Isn't that since
I
sometime in
think so,
August?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. You guys know I'm an Alien fanboy. It's no secret. I stopped watching Alien Romulus trailers like a while ago. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this or did I message this to you guys that word on the street is the Toxic Avenger remake is completely canceled.
Yeah, you said that.
Even though they completed filming, it's just not doing well. And that's a lot of films. I think Francis Ford Coppola's Metropolis, just some quick film news, guys. That was really having trouble finding a distributor as well. And I think Lionsgate or someone, and then also another one, Horizon. He had Horizon. Costner had Horizon Part 1 and Horizon Part 2. Horizon did so bad that the schedule for Part 2 to come out in theaters was canceled, and Netflix was making a bid for it. So it's a big common thing now, guys, for like films to get completed and either swap distributors or have trouble or get canceled. And it's not great because we wanted to see Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, and I'm still like you in Horizon.
Major disaster on security.
Yeah, I still may check Horizon out.
I'm gonna still watch it. Watch it.
Because I mean, everyone's saying it's so bad. I'm like, surely it can't be that bad.
The thing is, a lot of people who say that have never seen a Western, so they don't know what a slow burn is. They don't know what a buildup is. Like, if you watch Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you could be like, oh my God, those first 2 acts are so slow, but then there's a massive explosion in Act 3. So it's like that's what a Western is. It's the pressure and the buildup, you know?
Yeah, showing all the tension as well.
Shout out to the dudes that Slipknot gave us the heads up on. I saved one of their videos. So I'm gonna watch some Westerns that those guys reviewed, and then once we get Horizon, some of these other Westerns, spaghetti Westerns banged out, we still
know what we're talking about.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that'd be our best foot forward. Hey, this is a Paradigm Review Show. Hey, so what are we reviewing today? Like, oh, these guys are real experts, But we still want to do the other retrospectives for you guys, which would be like A Fistful of Dollars, A Few More Dollars, Yokimbo and Sanjuro, and just all the Kurosawa, Sergio Leone, spaghetti Western parallels, of which, that you get everything from Westerns and Kurosawa to that, to all the way to Star Wars A New Hope and Hidden Fortress. So you get a lot, with those influences, which I think, could be interesting for you guys, as well as the Zodiac stuff, Dirty Harry, and, the things that we continually mention. I could pull up before we go, guys, I could have a little quick look at our list.
Yeah, definitely. Let's give them a
good
heads up.
Stuff. You saw Borpolian. You weren't really feeling that. You and Max still need to do Silent Shite. We did Point Break. Yeah. I'll cut that off. We did the Crow OG. We have They Live coming up. Let me look up when like that one. Let me look up when the release date for The Thing is, because if we can, we'll try to hit it on the anniversary. That's what I like.
Yeah, that would be time, man.
It's already passed. Unless you know it. Unless you know your movie trivia insane, you can drop The Thing release date in the chat if you guys are elites. But give me 1 second.
Send a shout out to everybody. Thanks for supporting as always. And as Ross said, recommendations for things to have a look
we
at.
Just missed it. It was June 25th.
Oh man. So we could still cover it, but
if we owe it for you guys, we'll get it in the mix. It's on the PXF Classic list. Apocalypse Now is coming up. Don't want to say too much about that because that's going to be a 6-hour show for a 3-hour movie. We have other stuff. We also have the short films, like we covered Logan the Wolf. You guys can go check out that, the Kurosawa stuff that I mentioned, and then basically the Zodiac movies, of which there are many. But that, I think, will do it. This was basically a test show, guys. Dual stream. Feel free to subscribe to Mosh Shinobi. We will major disaster fell. He knocked down a bunch of stuff. We will tag the Mosh Shinobi below in the description. Go get the graphic novel. A little bit of MMA before we go. Mike Platinum Perry, King of Violence versus Snake Paul tonight. Hoping for a knockout, guys. If Pixie ever wants to come on and talk MMA, I mean, Pixie, I'm gonna promise you this: if Mike Perry starches Jake Paul, I will give you a review show on the fight all day long, and Gaz and Mac and whoever else can join. Wall Street, Gabe will have a power panel for that.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely, man.
But guys, Ninja Kamui, go check it out. Adult Swim HBO Max. Hopefully, depending on what channel you're watching this on, just let us know if audio, video is good in the comments. Check it out on Gaz's channel as well. We'll have the link to his channel in the description at Mosh Shinobi. Make sure to subscribe to him as well. Again, getting back in the fold here, guys, and we're kind of just like, again, this was a dual stream test show, so all goes well on both ends, and then we'll bring you whatever you want suggestion wise. Gaz will be back with the American Ninja review series. And then, maybe me and Gaz could do like Ninja 1 and Ninja 2, Scott Adkins retrospective for him as well. Yeah. So tons of ideas. I see the suggestions coming in the comments too. Shout out to Slipknot and everybody that keeps coming with the suggestions. We'll write them all down. We'll get them saved. Paradigm Review Show, Ninja Kamui 2024, Adult Swim Animation. Check it out. I'm looking forward to Terminating Zero, man. I hope that's good.
Well, it has to be, because we need our memories erasing of recent endeavors.
The films have been up and down, mostly down recently. So it was a no-brainer to go bring this over to a medium that everyone likes, like animation. I'm glad Netflix has it. They do okay. So coming back soon. Hit us in the live chat, like, sub, share, Patreon. You can be a member. Click the join button below for membership, or subscribe, and subscribe to Mosh Shinobi below. Paradigm Review Show. We're out.
Peace, everyone.